Hi everybody, this is Abby with Scrap and Abby, and this is my video for the 2014-15 design team call Final Round for May Arts. I am super excited to have been selected to participate in the second round, and I tried out or auditioned for the video tutorial. So this is my video for that final submission. So what I'm going to be sharing with you guys, this is going to be a video in about probably 2 to 3 different parts put into one. I'm going to show you the wonderful May Arts trims I'm going to be working with, briefly show what the project is, and then I'm going to jump into a tutorial portion, show you how I'm creating the project with these May Arts trims and ribbons that you're seeing underneath this spool right here, and then show you guys the completed project when I'm done. So let me go ahead and get started and share with you. Bethany, as always, was extremely generous with us and letting us select from the thousands of different options of all the different ribbons and trims you can get from May Arts. We went shopping through the catalog online, and I felt like a kid in a candy store at Christmas time. It was just awesome. I loved it. So these are the choices I narrowed mine down to. So I'm going to start, and I'll describe them to you, what they are, the colors, and the item number going from left to right. So this first one here, this is item number 474-2-10, and this is the 2-inch burlap, and it's the cotton blend, and this is the color I chose, which is the item number I just read to you. I'm going to be using this for the cover of the journal. I didn't tell you, I'm making a vintage mini journal from some chipboard and some from vintage paper, so that's what I'm going to be creating. Sorry about that. And I'm going to be using this for the cover, and I'm really excited about that. This was the very first trim I selected, and then I kind of built the project in my mind after that. The next one, this is item number 363-33, and this is the dark brown color, and it's the twisted burlap ribbon, and I'm going to be using this for the binding of my journal that I'm making, as well as some of the added texture to the cover in conjunction with this cotton blend natural burlap trim. The third one, and if anybody knows me, they're going to know this is part of my favorite because I love purple, and this is item number 362-2-67. This is the purple / ivory. It's the 2-inch solid stripes with ribbon, and I love this. This is going to be on the cover as well, and you can see how pretty that one is. I just love it. And I'm also going to be using on some components inside the journal, just add some accent. And then the next one here, this is my first time using this one actually. I love this one. Actually, it's not true. I have this in a white, I believe, or beige, but this is the first time using it with the dark brown, and I just love it. It's so pretty. This one is item number 372-15-33, and this is the crocheted velvet center ribbon, and this is the velvet you guys can see here, or excuse me, the crochet right here. Super pretty. I have it in this one, but just the solid crochet, which I love, but this is mixed in with that velvet in the center. It's just so super pretty. And this last one I've actually used before, and I do love this one as well, so I wanted to work with this because this is such a fun trim. And this is item number 384-34-09, and this is the ivory color. It's a 3/4 inch lace with a pearl center ribbon, and you can see it has that natural curl to it, and I used it on a ribbon chandelier project last year, but this time this is going to be incorporated into one of the components for the tutorial portion that I'm making to go with the journal. So those are the goodies I'm going to be using, and just to quickly share with you what the project is before I get started. The idea for this came from, and this is large, and I apologize, it's going to be out of frame. This is a scrapbook. This is a huge album that I picked up at a secondhand store for like less than $1, and it's full of just this awesome old-time paper, and I didn't want to tear into this. I kind of have that just because I like how it looks. It's kind of like a little bit of a visual inspiration for me. So what I have I'm using for the pages in my album are actually, this is a piece of an album I picked up from another thrift shop, and all they had was just the pages. The actual cover was gone. So I've been, generously or sparingly using this because this is actual vintage, scrapbook paper, and I want to, use it for special projects. So I've cut that down, and for the cover, I'm using chipboard. And let me grab my piece of chipboard I have right here, show you guys what it looked like before. Funny thing about these, and I'll tell you as I'm talking about the tutorial portion, but these are from work. This is what they look like originally. They are 8 by 5.5. I just punched some holes, and I'll explain that when I'm doing the tutorial portion. And then I went ahead and cut down those pages I shared with you guys in the beginning as well, and I already have my journal pages put together as far as the size. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys. This is basically what the project's going to look like. And then the fun part is adding all of this yumminess to this bare bones mini journal I'm going to be making. And then a couple other things. I have some more May Arts ribbon. I'm not sure if I'm going to incorporate these or not. I might incorporate these in the project, as well as maybe some of these just for some additional elements. And these again are all May Arts ribbons and lace and trim. And a couple other things really quickly, just for some texture. I might use a couple of these different stencils on there on some of the pages. And then for the cover, I have a really fun technique I'm going to be using with some of these. They're from Tim Holtz. They're the little alpha resins. I'm going to be spelling something on the front of the journal, and I'm going to be using some smooch in gold on the letters with my heat tool, and it kind of melts them. It looks really, really cool. Possibly throw in some vintage buttons, and these are from my grandma's collection that she gave me. And in addition to the ribbon here I showed you guys, I'm going to be using some of these little, you know, not grommets, but eyelet pieces, just to kind of reinforce it because it's a chipboard. And then some of the stamps that I might be using. Let me show this to you really quickly. Or just these stamps that I got from Christy Tomlinson. These are some fun journaling. And my thought behind this is just stamping these randomly throughout the pages inside the journal, and then having those as inspiration pieces when I go to write inside the journal itself. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to go ahead and get my ribbons and everything all prepared and everything, and I will go ahead and turn the camera back on when I'm ready to go ahead and start working on the cover and the back and share with you guys. See you in just a minute. Okay, now I'm going to share with you guys how I created my cover for my journal, and I'm using just this 5.5 by 8 piece of chipboard. And I went ahead and created the cover just so I could show you guys what this is going to look like. And then I'm going to do one on camera to show you how it turned out. So I went ahead and prepped my piece of chipboard just for time's sake, and I went ahead and covered it with the score tape that I'm going to be using. Now you could use, you know, the red line tape, you could use like the fabric tack or something like that if you want. I chose to use score tape because that's really my adhesive of choice. So this is the back side. So this is going to go this way whenever I have the book together or the journal together. So this is the back cover. And since this is where I'm going to be applying some of this linen burlap trim, I wanted to have a lot of coverage and some adhesive here so it would hold that down. And this is the front, just to kind of show you guys up close how that looks. I think it turned out pretty cute. And this is the inside. So we're going to work on the outside first. So before I put the burlap on, after I put the score tape on, I went ahead and inked the edges of this chipboard because I didn't want to have just like kind of a bare look. And the ink I use, which matches what I'm working on, is the walnut stain from Tim Holtz. And then I went ahead and did that. So I'm going to go ahead and start wrapping the burlap. And this is, this cotton trim. And this is pretty simple to do. You know, I didn't really have any type of certain way I do it or anything. So I'm just going to start peeling off the score tape. And as I'm doing that, I'm going to chat with you guys really quickly. The holes that you're seeing on the sides, these are 2, 4, and 6 mark with my ruler, because this is the 8 length and this is the 5.5 this way. And that's just the size of the chipboard. These are actually from some Acer netbooks. I work at a school district in the tech department, and I order all the technology for the whole school district. And these were from quite a few years ago, but we had several hundred. So as I was breaking down the boxes, I went ahead and kept the chipboard because, you know, as crafters, we use lots of chipboard. So I have quite the stash of this chipboard. I love making my own mini albums and journals, and I thought it would be just such a fun way to share with you guys how to use your May Arts ribbon and trim in a different format other than just, you know, the traditional bows and things like that, which are fun. I do that too, but you can also use it to cover a project and a mini album. So as you can see, all the score tape is off. I didn't measure the center. I just kind of laid it out. And then what I'm going to do is just go ahead and start just by layering it. And I'm going to keep the camera up so you guys can watch me a little bit better because I don't want to go in close for this portion. Now I'm just leaving like maybe 1/4 inch lap on the edge, and I'll show you why I'm doing that here momentarily. But I'm going to start on this side first just because I'm working backwards from when I did the first page. So get myself in frame. And all I'm doing again is just leaving this a little bit of a lip, and I'm going right exactly to the edge of this over top of the holes because you're able to use your crocodile to punch through, which is what I did on the first part. So this is just some awesome trim to do that with. If you're more comfortable flipping this over so you can see the straight edge, you know, you're more than welcome to do that. You just want to do what's easiest for you. And then I just press it down just like that. Real simple and easy to do. And I'm just going to take my scissors and I'll show you guys here. I'm just going to leave, oh, I forgot to leave my little lip here, but I'll be able to fix that because the score tape allows you to peel that off. So see how easy that is? And you don't even have to redo it because it's still sticky. So let's go back over here and just leave a little bit of a lip. Sorry about that. There we go. That's a little better. And the purpose of that is so whenever I flip this page over, I'm going to flip it over onto the other side, and it's going to be like my matting for the inside of the journal. And so there I have that little bit of a lip, and I'm going to leave a little bit of a length on this end as well. So I'm going to flip it over just so I can see it a little better as to where I want to trim it. Right about there. And then I'm just going to basically repeat the same process. And this takes 3 strips for this particular length of chipboard that I have. And all I'm doing is just lining this up even, just right to the edge. I kind of played around with overlapping it, but then I was messing around with the string, this darker trim right here that I'm using for the binding, and I kind of thought it'd be kind of fun to take it and line the front, which is what I did. But for the back, I'm doing a little bit different. And I'll just explain that to you here in just a second. I'm just going to trim this one here like this, and then we're going to go ahead and do this last piece. Just like that. And you don't even really have to be too perfect with it because we're going to be covering up those lines too. So let's do that with it. And see a little trim. Alright, put that off to the side. And so now what we're going to do is go ahead and take the score tape off. And I did this off camera as well, but I went ahead and burnished it. And what I mean by that, if nobody knows, is I just took my bone folder and I just gave it a really good press. That way the adhesive is sticking to the chipboard. And before I get this last piece off, let me get my crocodile, because you're going to want to make sure you can see through your holes first. And this is what I'm using. You can use, I'm using my crocodile. You can use whatever kind of hole punch you want. This is just what I find works best for cutting through this thicker chipboard, and it doesn't seem to cramp my hand up too much. So do that real quick. And then you can see the holes here, and there's a little bit of a fray sticking through, so I'll just take my scissors and we're just going to snip those pieces off. No big deal, because I'm going to be putting in that eyelet in there in just a second here. There we go. Dust those off. And then what we're going to do is, with those 3 eyelets, we're going to go ahead and get those in here real quick. And then I'll get the rest of that trim wrapped over, and then I'm going to show you how I make the inside cover. And then that's going to be this portion of the video. And then I'm going to be making some different elements for the actual project inside, like some different, like a bookmark and some other fun stuff. So I'll be sharing that with you guys in just a moment. But I want to show you how to do the cover first. And I'm basically just putting this eyelet in, so this isn't, this is really quick and easy to do. And you don't have to worry about how ugly this looks because this is going to be covered over with the paper. So now we'll go ahead and peel off that last strip that I had on there. There we go. And then all I'm doing now is with this overlap, and you guys can see I have the score tape on. You can see the little shine. I'm just going to be taking this and folding this over. And I'm working on this end first. Again, just because the way I fold it over is why I'm doing that. And I'm going to zoom in just so you can see it a little bit better. This portion. Okay. So all I'm doing is just folding this over onto the score tape that I already put on. Just like that. I'm going to flip it over and then do these ends first, because I'm going to do that inner edge last. Okay, there's that. Fold it over. And then something I learned from just doing this on the first one, because I've made, like I mentioned, I've made quite a few journals myself like this, is I am going to go ahead and just do like a little snip on the corner. And this is going to give it kind of that, not saying professional, but kind of that look of, I'm going to put that last one over, that kind of look when you purchase a book or a journal. It has that kind of, nice, smooth, kind of pleated edge. This is going to help you get that. This is my 1/4 inch score tape, and all I'm doing here is just running this along this piece here. So I have it right there, snipped in the corner there, and then snipped on the corner, oops, I'm off the mat there, snipped right there. And all I'm doing is taking the score tape and putting a piece just kind of like this on the slant, and then I'm running it down. And this is because this is going to help with the edge of this trim stick to the chipboard, because the score tape I put on is only on the very edge, and because I didn't want to trim this 3rd piece of trim down, this is why I need to do that. If you want to conserve some of your trims, you can certainly trim it down if you want. I like how it looks. I think it just gives it kind of a nice finished, completed look. And I'm going to peel that score tape off, and then I'm just going to simply fold it over. I'm going to zoom out so you can see a little bit better. And just going to fold that over just like this. And it kind of gives you that really nice tucked in edge. And I like how pieces of this are kind of fraying because I love that distressed kind of tattered look. So, and then there we have the inside piece. Now if you're worried about some of these frays that are showing up right here on the edge, you can snip them down if you want, but mine don't happen to be too particularly long, so I'm not worried about it on this one. On the cover they were a little bit longer. Like on this piece here, you can just take your scissors and just snip it off. It's not a big deal. And then what we're going to do is work on the inside. So that, again, this is the back and it goes this way. So I went ahead and cut down a piece of cardstock. This is from the Prima Ledger collection, and I went ahead and put score tape on the back of this as well. And the reason I chose this for the inside is because since this is a journal, I like that kind of ledger look. I just think it kind of lends itself to the theme of the project. And just peeling this off really quickly here. And we'll get this put on the inside, then we'll be done with the back cover. So here it is. I'm going to line it up like that. And I'm going to be going over and covering this completely because I like how this edge looks. And I'll show you that in just a moment. So pardon me for a second as I kind of eyeball here where I'm going, make sure I'm even. Okay. Oops, let me pick up here just real quick. Okay, there we go. All right. We're just going to smooth that down, and you can take your bone folder again if you'd like and kind of smooth those edges out. And I'm going to snip off this fray here real quick and show you guys the album. And this is the cover. So what I did also before I put this down is I inked the edges of the cardstock before I went on camera, and then that way it kind of has that nice look. So obviously I need to punch holes through here because we need to run the trim through. So I'm going to be using this smaller hole piece here on my crocodiles, not the one I used the first time, but I'll show you here in a second how you can get that to go through. So I'm just putting a hole in here really quickly on each side, and you can see that it's not like it's the biggest hole, but you flip it over, and all I'm doing is I'm using, and you guys might laugh at this, but I have these little crochet sticks. I don't even know what size it is. I just grabbed the ones I liked that looked right for me, and they're purple, so that was a win-win. I just use this and I just kind of put it in here, and I just kind of carefully do this with it, and you guys can see the difference of the hole from being that small to being a little bit bigger. So, and that's all I'm doing is just doing that. So that's just kind of a little tip if you don't have the right size. And you could also go ahead and punch your holes first before you put it on the chipboard if you want. I didn't do it that way. So there is the cover of the back of the journal. I keep wanting to say cover because I'm kind of working backwards, but there's the front, and I'm going to be doing some decoration on here, so it's not going to be this plain, of course, but this is the back side. So instead of putting the same trim string on the front, I'm choosing to use on the back some of this. This is that lace and velvet trim I shared with you guys, because this feels so nice and soft, and I really like when you're holding something. I love the texture and the feel, and it just feels so nice on your hands. So all I'm going to do is just really quickly run some score tape down the center of this, and you could use whatever width you kind of want to. This is the 3/8 inch, so I'm going to be using that, and I'm just going to simply take this and go down from the bottom to the top, just like that. And just trim it. I'll do it again. And then you have a really quick way to embellish any of your mini albums or journals that you're creating on your own, which I think is just really fabulous. And I'm gonna just take my foam folder and do just a quick burnish. And we'll go ahead and peel this first one off here. If I can get my fingernail underneath there, sorry about that. Let me just push that down just a little bit more. There we go. And then I'm just going to simply run this through. And this is going to go right on the very edge. I'm not going to flop this one over like I did the first one. So I want to make sure I don't have a frayed edge like that. So I'm just going to snip this off is all I'm doing, off to the side. And then just lay this down. And I'm going to flip it this way so I can actually make sure I'm doing it straight. Give me just a sec here. Alright. And just run it down the center. Just like that. It's real quick and easy. You need to take your scissors and trim it, and you have a really unique kind of texture and look for the back of your mini that's been covered with this fabulous neutral cotton trim from Mayarts. Do it again, just like that, and just a quick snip to get that off. And there you have it, and that's the back cover of the journal I'm making, and that's the inside. Now I'm gonna be probably adding some little embellishments on the corners just to kind of give it a completed look, but for the most part with the pages, and I will show you, I'll come back on camera to show you guys how I'm going to bind this together. Anyway, and that's the journal. So there it is, the back and the cover, and really easy to do. It's just a fun way to use your Mayarts trim to make a fabulous cover for your journals, I think. So that's that portion of my tutorial video. So I'll be back when I bind this together, and then when I make some of the other embellishments for the journal itself. See you in just a little bit. Okay, now that I have shown you guys how to create the cover and the back side of the journal, I'm going to now show you using this twisted burlap ribbon how to bind it together. So just a little tip, I just put some tape on the end of this just so it didn't fray as I'm winding it through my little grommet holes. So I already have my pages inside. There's 20 pieces of that vintage paper, and then all I'm going to do is just go ahead and start going through. Actually, I'm going to go to the bottom first, the back side, and then I'm just going to give myself quite a bit of length because I'm going to be going back through. And this is just a real quick and easy way to bind your journal together, or your mini album, whichever you're making, but it's really a neat way to do it using more of the Mayarts trim. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back through the second hole, so I have a piece that goes back over. I'm just going to poke it through, and I'm just coming through the back side. That's all I did there. And then go through, and I'm going to go back through the first loop I went through here and at the very top. And the reason I'm going to leave a little bit of a tail is because I'm going to be tying on this key, and I'm not going to tie it on here right now because I'm not done with the front of the journal yet, but this is just to give you an idea of why I'm leaving that on there, and it's going to be dangling off the front of the journal once I get the rest of my embellishments done. But just to show you, this is the front piece, and then this is the back side with that twisted burlap ribbon. I love it. And this is going to open, and it's so cute. Look how cool that looks against that vintage paper. I love that contrast. I love it, love it, love it. I think it's so neat. And then it also goes really well with the text that's on this cardstock that I use too. So, and it's just going to work out perfect. So I'll be back with the completed journal and the couple little embellishments I'm going to be making to share with you guys. See you in just a minute. Okay, I'm back with my completed projects, and as you guys can tell, I have a little bonus one here that I made extra just because I kind of wanted to have like a little set to kind of go together. So this is the journal. These are some of the Tim Holtz letters that I shared with you. I just put a couple coats of some crackle paint, let them heat dry up with my heat tool a little bit, kind of shrunk them, which I was going for, and I like that you can kind of see the black showing through. I kind of wanted that distressed look, so I really love that. And then I tied that beautiful two-tone trim here on the cover, and then when you open it on the inside, it creates a pocket, you know, for these little tags that I made. And these are just cut from some cardstock from that Prima collection. All I did was just cover the back side using score tape and use this trim right here. This is that really awesome natural neutral colored burlap, or kind of a cotton trim there that I picked out. And I stamped on here this vision, and then balance on this one, topped it off with some of that brown trim, and then I also inked the edges a little bit and kind of distressed it with my tool. And I think it looks really, really cool. Just kind of some little place markers for the book. I did make a bookmark I'll share with you in just a moment, but this is just kind of a neat thing because, you know, when I'm journaling or writing down my thoughts or something like that, you know, I don't have just one spot. I like to kind of go back and forth, maybe refer to an entry I did, you know, a week ago or something like that. And so the purpose of these little tags, just to kind of stick them on the side right there, is to, you know, mark different spots within the journal. So I thought that was just kind of a fun way to use the inside of the book with the ribbon that I wrapped around the front for the cover. And then I just ran some of that brown cording again just down. I stopped intentionally because I wanted us a little bit of interest right there where it stops, and the other one is peeking out from under the bow right here. And again, this is the binding that I showed you guys that I was doing on camera. Just kind of wrap that through, and on the back side again, I wanted to put some of that kind of velvety plush trim on the back because it feels so nice on your hands, and I love that feel when you're holding something and you can just rub your fingers on it. It's soothing to me. So anyway, that's the journal. I thought it turned out really super cute using the covering is just completely this trim right here, the ones I named off for you guys in the first part of the video. And I think it's just kind of a fun way to cover a chipboard album, you know, and I made this from scratch as I showed you guys, and then just the binding. And these are the pages. What I did is just randomly did some stamping you know, no real rhyme or reason, just kind of, you know, skipped every 5 or 6 pages or so and just kind of did some stamping. Some I did on the other sides of the pages over here. We can't really see it, but this is the bookmark I made using that same trim that I used to cover the mini, or excuse me, the journal. And then I ran some of this really pretty pearl and lace trim down the center because I think that's really, really cute. And the back side just looks like that. And I just flipped over the edge using some score tape just so I didn't have that distressing, which I love, but I wanted to kind of have this have a little bit more of a smoother edge. And then I just put it inside the journal wherever I'm writing that day, and it's really cute because it pokes out the bottom and you can see it on the top. And then for the bonus project, this is actually a box I altered. It contained a piece of technology. I just put some paper on it, you know, did some coat of just some craft paint that I happen to have. I made a flower using some more of that pearl trim. This is the ribbon, or excuse me, the lace, the crocheted lace from May Arts that I told you guys I was probably going to use, and I did because I love purple, and so I had to incorporate that as well. And I took a little bit of snippet of the same striped ribbon, made a little tucks right here, added some more of the pearl just as an accent. This is some of that same string I used for the center of the button. I cut this apart because I was kind of playing with using it in some different applications. So what I did is I just cut the just took a little tiny piece and I cut the lace off the sides, and that's what I used to kind of have hanging out underneath this flower here, and I'll hold it up so you guys can get a really good look at that. So just really fun ways you can use the May Arts ribbons and trims. Wrapped it around the whole part of the box, kind of a rustic feel, crossed it in the front, and then on the inside I added a little bit more of that same trim right here. Had a little tiny bit of the purple lace because I love purple, it's my favorite color, so I wanted to incorporate that. And then I just tied off some of these vintage pages that I use for the book. These are the scraps left over, so never throw your scraps away of ribbon or papers because you can use them in a different project, and that's what I did. Just covered it with paper on the inside, and these are just some blank pieces of paper, so I can totally give this away as a gift to somebody, and it's tied off, and you can slip this off whoever I give this to, and they can reuse this on a different project if they want, or they can, you know, keep it on if they choose. Anyway, so that is just my little kind of note card box, and I thought it turned out really super cute, just incorporating more of the May Arts ribbons and trims, and so that's how that turned out. So again, these are the 4 trims that I selected to use for my second round design team call project for May Arts. These 4 right here. These were a lot of fun to use. I'm going to be adding some other elements using the remainder pieces I have to kind of complete this set. I may end up keeping this for myself because I love it so much. I think it's so cute. Anyway, so you guys, thanks for allowing me to share with you some fun ways to use the different May Arts ribbons and trims. Keep your fingers and your toes, even your eyes if you want, crossed for me, that I'm what Bethany's looking for the 2014-15 May Arts design team. I would love nothing more than to get a chance to create with Bethany, the ribbon lady, and all the other ribbonistas on the team, and just share with you guys some fun ways that you can create all different kinds of projects. You know, simple, just covering some chipboard, you know, just something a little more detailed, making flowers, just lots of fun things. So thanks you guys again. Sorry if the video was a tad bit long because I really wanted to show you guys how I created the cover. And if you have any questions or any comments, please feel free to leave me one, and I will see you guys next time. Happy crafting!